Hey guys, I'm Brooke and welcome to Inside Renovation. Before today's episode, if you ever have a topic or a question you'd like to ask us, you can always shoot an email over to podcast@renovation.church. And listen, with Thanksgiving coming up, Christmas time, we all have a little bit of family drama around this time of year. So we're going to talk about how to navigate that in today's episode. I feel like it happens to everybody. Family drama during the holidays.
Oh, my Lord.
Here we go.
That's right. Let's talk about it.
I even wore my rowdy hat for this.
You did.
one
Let's
because
get rowdy
I feel
then.
like
Let's do it.
this is the time of year where it is all about getting together and thankfulness and, you know, all of the good gratitude, all fun things.
It.
But I feel like each year there is always a little bit of family conflict.
Absolutely.
A little bit of drama.
It wouldn't be Thanksgiving, Christmas. Like, you got to have family drama.
And I know specifically for my family, I have 3 brothers, 2 sisters, mom, dad, all the cousins.
I forgot. Our families are super kind of similar, right?
Yes, and you have a huge family, and yours is, you've got a bunch of step siblings and things like that. Yes.
Divorced 3 times. Yep.
So when it all comes together, holiday-wise, I feel like there's got to be memorable moments, maybe some challenges that happen around this time of year, maybe that have shaped your perspective on the holidays. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So first, let me give you the outline of my family because it's complicated and you need to understand. I love my family. Let me give some disclaimers.
We love you,
my family.
okay?
Not going to dishonor my family. So if you're like looking for Cody's family dirt, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of it today. But I'll give you some of the drama and stories. But my parents were divorced when I was 3. Dad got remarried. She already had 3 kids of her own. So immediately I think I said this in a previous episode. I had an older sister at the time who was 5, another one that was 4. I would think I just turned 4. My dad got remarried, and then a brother that was 3. And then my mom got remarried, and my dad and my stepmom, they had a son who was 5 years younger than me. So I have another little brother. And then my mom got remarried. They had a kid together. He's 7 years younger than me, little brother. Mm-hmm. And then my mom and dad decided to adopt from China when I was 16. So I have a little sister as well. So I have 2 older stepsisters. I have my younger stepbrother who passed away when I was 15, died of cancer. I had another half brother, 2 half brothers. I was getting confused with my own family. And adopted sister from China. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then my mom and my stepdad got divorced. My stepdad ended up marrying our best friend's mom. I officiated the wedding. So now, like, one of our closest friends, me and Jessica's closest friend couples, he's kind of like my stepbrother, but not really, because legally my stepdad's not my stepdad no more.
Right.
And so now you got that dynamic. So when I talk about family holidays, we just got to make sure understanding the context. Then Jessica's family, get how dysfunctional this is. Parents been married, she's an only child. That's it.
Man.
And that's the dysfunction.
Yes, right?
That's it.
Yep.
So it's like, imagine her getting introduced to my family, and her parents are like, what dysfunctional crap is this?
Well,
who did you marry, bro? You know, like.
And I feel like when you're the opposite, when you're the spouse, going into that, when you're used to kind of like maybe a normal-ish holiday season.
She had a super normal-ish holiday season. Great, like family farm. All her parents are, everybody's still married, and there's not a lot of dysfunction outside of just people are dysfunctional.
Yeah. But when you had to introduce her into that, oh my Lord, was there like a learning curve to that? Yeah.
Rough. So our first year of marriage, if we fought about anything, it was family. Mm-hmm. Period. It was my family for the most part. And some of it was hers too, just because she's coming from a context she doesn't know, and her parents don't know. Yeah. Like, her parents have never dealt with that level of like crazy dysfunction. Now, I say dysfunction. Our family's like beautifully dysfunctional. Like, we've learned to navigate all of the different things. But year 1 of marriage, oh my Lord, like, where are you going for Christmas? What's the expectation? Because everybody has their traditions, right? So the first year, it's like, okay, well, my traditions were, you know, I was at home with my mom. Well, now my mom and my stepdad are divorced. So it's like my whole life I was home on Christmas morning with my mom and my stepdad. Then I'll go spend the day with my dad. We go to my grandma's house, then go to my stepmom's aunt's house. And then I'd stay the night with them, and I would do Christmas with my dad and my stepmom the next morning. Yep. And then you have like Christmas Eve going to see other family. So like now it's like, okay, what's the new Christmas routine? And it's like, oh boy. Like, it was one of those things like, who am I about to piss off? Really?
Literally.
Like, at Thanksgiving, who am I about to piss off?
Well,
like, somebody's getting mad and I got to deal with somebody. And everybody lives local. Like, at least in your case right now.
Right. Our families are in opposite states. Yeah.
For me, it's like, we live in Gallatin, but like my mom lives in Antioch. My dad and stepmom live in Mount Juliet. My stepdad lives in Lebanon. Jessica's family lives in Mount Juliet. Everybody's 30 to 40 minutes away.
So you
what excuse?
You're making 6 stops on Thanksgiving
100%.
Day.
Yeah. It's like, all right, well, and so no, we're not now, but we tried that.
Yeah.
And that's what we're going to talk about this episode.
Perfect.
We tried to appease everyone, and we did, except for each other.
Yeah.
Except for our own family.
Yeah.
Then you add kids to the mix.
I was literally just going to say, the second you add a child to it, because that's where my husband and I are, Andrew, we always do. My mom, thankfully, she knew from the jump. She was like, I have 6 kids.
Yeah.
And I know everybody's going to want Christmas. Everybody wants Christmas, right? She was like, at some point, all of your spouses, whoever you're with, they're going to want Christmas. Yep. So she was like, Thanksgiving's my holiday. And everybody was like, dope. So any time that there's ever
good
been.
For your mom.
My mom was just like.
Secret to family drama. Get a mom like Brooke.
Yes. I mean, love you, Mom. Mom's drama too sometimes.
There you go. That's fine.
But so we do Thanksgiving with my family. And then all of my other siblings, they do Christmas with their families. But now it's like you add kids to the mix.
Yeah.
And now it's like we want to have our own family traditions when it comes to Christmas specifically. And especially where it's like now our daughter's going to be 3 this year.
Yeah.
We want to be able to have our own Christmas morning at our house, but we can't go to Thanksgiving at my parents and then not Christmas at his.
100%.
You know what I mean?
So that's it.
It's hard.
Great.
It's hard out in these streets.
So let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. When it comes to these kind of things, when you obviously have, your faith, your background, kind of like where you are in this season, when things start to get ugly or if things are hard like that, how do you approach those situations to kind of honor your faith? And honor who you are, in the kingdom.
Yeah. I mean, I think that priorities are important, and communicating those priorities to your family are important. The earlier you can do it, the better. And that was one of those things that I don't think we understood. Early on, we get married, and Jessica's parents were her priority. My family was my priority. So how to navigate that. So eventually what got us from fighting every holiday to not, and we've changed it up. I don't think you have to do this. I know now sometimes structure is helpful. Like what you just said, hey, I got Thanksgiving, they got Christmas, dope.
Yeah.
For us, it was like no one in our family was really willing to budge because they all still wanted both, and it's like, okay, so look, we're not going to be able to do both. So some years we're going to do this with you, and some years we're going to do this with you. And it's going to be based on what works best for us.
Yeah.
And so from a biblical perspective, though, I mean, for me, it's like my first priority is my wife and my kids.
Yeah.
We have 3 boys. They're my priority. They will get the best of me and the best times that we determine for our family that are going to happen during the holidays to celebrate Thanksgiving, to celebrate Christmas. Whatever we want to do for a family, they're my first priority.
Yeah.
They're going to be first. So we've had to have some very honoring, but hey, listen, we love you, but this is what's most important for us. And we have to make sure that our kids are having great memories with us as their parents. Not that you're not important. You're just not number one.
Yeah.
You're just not. Now, the uniqueness of my role around holidays in particular, Thanksgiving, not so much, but Christmas and Easter, second priority for me is the church. Mm-hmm. It's my calling. And I know people are like, oh, your family. No, my immediate family, yes. Second is the thing God made me to do.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to put the thing God made me to do on the back burner. So for me, and I know everybody listen to this, most people, 99% of you aren't pastors. But for me, it's church comes second for me. And I would even make this argument. It may need to come first or second for you and everyone else too. Because let's talk Christmas specifically. What's it really about? Mm-hmm. Okay. At the end of the day, it's about family and all that, but what are we actually doing? We're celebrating the birth of our Savior, period. So I think that I would encourage people, and here's how I can make the argument too, because that one's kind of the cliche one to do. But the other thing is just priority for you in life in general. Christ comes before everything else, right? So it just should, and it does. And so what I would say is to skip out on spending time with Jesus and doing things that you value. So for me, whether I'm a pastor or not, whether I'm preaching or not, bro, we in church.
Yeah.
That's just a value we have as a family. So I would almost secondly put values, your own values as a family over your parents, siblings, cousins, traditions. Values come before traditions.
Right.
From those values, I form my traditions. It's how we've chose to do it. So then it's just navigating, okay, how can we fit everyone in? But then there's also the boundaries, we establish. It's like Christmas Day, we do Christmas at home.
Yeah.
I never grew up with Christmas at home. No knock on my parents. They did the best they could. And I actually loved getting to travel and all that. I don't want that for my kids.
Yeah.
So I decided, you know what? Could we come into your house for lunch at Christmas because we're done opening presents? We could. We could come at dinner. But we're not going to, because if I want my kids to get to celebrate Christmas Day at home, play with their toys, where we live. You want to see us on Christmas Day? Pop in.
Yeah.
Come over. That's cool. Mm-hmm. But we're not about to travel our kids all over around the world just to appease everybody.
Yeah.
Because that's what we tried to do. I think even like the first year of Tatum's life. And it was like, yo, this is miserable.
Yeah.
And like at the end, we're just like so exhausted, so tired. And I was like, God, I'm so grateful that's over. Yeah. It's like, we're not going to live our life that way. So anyway.
Well, and I love that you brought that up because I think that's something that we're at in our family where we're struggling with. We love our families. Yep. We love them and we want to spend time with them. Yeah. But having to, like you said, travel. And I mean, both families are 9-hour drives away. Yep. A plane ride away. Yep. So you factor in how much more expensive it is to travel during the holidays.
Yeah, let's talk about cost.
And then wanting to drive instead of fly. Yeah. And then that's 2 days of travel and
missing work if it's depending on the holiday.
Yes. Yeah. And how much that is mentally taxing on both of us when it's like, this is supposed to be a time of rest almost when, we were taking time off work. Yeah. And it becomes such a task.
I think it is very challenging for young families. Yeah. I mean, with kids and all of that, like traveling out of town, it just becomes its own thing. Like it's so difficult. And so I think having those conversations of clarity and setting expectations up front, the sooner you can do that again, the better. Yeah. The more you can just have those conversations as hard as they are. And I think the key in that is helping them understand why. Yeah. And not just saying, here's what we're going to do. I don't care if you don't like it. That's not my hard-hearing attitude. It's like, hey, listen, because of these things, we can't do this anymore. Yeah. And I would really love if you would understand. I would really love if you could just maybe see it from our shoes. We want you to feel honored and respected. There's no rule saying we have to do it on that day. I know that was our family tradition, but now I have another family. Mm-hmm. It's like, and don't you want me to prioritize my family? Yeah. Hopefully the answer is yes, you do. Yeah. So we're going to celebrate on that day. Who says we can't celebrate Christmas on December 26th? Yeah. Or 23rd or whatever. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, again, I think that's huge. But the money thing, that's a different thing too. Because I just told y'all my siblings, they all got kids now. Yeah. Except my youngest sister and my youngest brother. They all got kids. And I'm going to be real with you. Like, if we buy decent presents for all of the, kids, we're spending close to, $500 to $1,000. Yeah, on just other people's. It's insane. Yep. On toys that they already got. Yep. Like, it's just it's so crazy to me. Yep. So, we trying to figure out how to do that different. I have a good suggestion for you because we adopted this in our family because I have 5 siblings. Okay. And not everybody's at the same level in their career, I'll say. There you go. Right? Yeah. Okay. Different financial situations. Different financial situations. That's right. So to make the burden lighter for everybody collectively, we've been doing quote unquote Secret Santa for a really long time. Draw a name. And our parents are in it. So it's not like everybody has to get a present from mom and dad. Everybody's in. We set a dollar amount and then you can exceed that dollar amount if you want. Yep. But this is the dollar amount. Yeah, you can't go under it. Right. It's what everybody's it's a $30. You can't spend $3. You know what I'm saying? All my siblings, everybody starts popping out kids. And now there's 9 grandkids now. Yep. And it's just like that on top of that. It's just like, I love my nieces and nephews, but that's not, there's 8 of them, it's just like, that's a lot of money. That's it. So we ain't rolling deep like that. No, exactly. So we have 2 Secret Santas. We have a sibling parents Secret Santa. And then we have all of the nieces and nephews all collectively together, get each other presents. So it's not as intimidating and financially distressing as it is like you're talking about spending that much money, because it's just like, at what point, do you, because not everybody has a budget like that, you know what I mean? And how stressful that can be for somebody who's not financially as stable as somebody else, and not wanting them to feel less than around the holiday time. I think is you want everybody to feel joy. You want everybody to feel connected. And it's like doing Secret Santa makes
other people more comfortable because they are a part of it.
Yep.
But it's not as physically,
That's right. Yeah.
exhausting as the other
we
thing.
do.
Yeah.
We just do dirty Santa. Like we say, hey, $20 gift, dirty Santa, all the adults in. If you didn't bring a gift, you don't play.
There
you
you
know
go.
what I'm saying? And mine's the same move every year. I go buy 4 $5 lottery tickets, and they get stolen like that every time because everybody thinks they're gonna hit the lottery. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it'd be nice though.
Hey, that's what I go for. If I see lottery tickets, I'm like, yeah, I'm not gonna buy them, but hey, it's like it's a gift. It's fun. Let's play. That's my gift every year.
Okay, but if they win a big sum of money, do you get a percentage?
I know. We fight about that every year, but nobody has yet. But it's like, yeah, there's got to be like hey, you got to do a little kickback. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you wouldn't have got that money if it wasn't for me. You have to kick back a little something, like 10%.
But
you
it
win
also
a meal,
was a gift.
I need some. I know, but
so maybe you don't get that money.
I know that. Well, I don't know.
I'm just playing devil's advocate over here. Okay.
Right. You know what? You're not playing Dirty Santa in my
not
house this year.
involved.
So, that's funny though. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing too with our family. I've told Jess this a lot. Like I'm so much more of a fan of creating experiences and memories.
Yeah.
With our family than buying some gifts. Like, we get our kids not everything they want, right? But like they have what they need. Yeah. They have more than they need. Mm-hmm. Why go and drop $500 to $1,000 on some toys that they're not even going to play with in 3 months, maybe a year? Why not take that and go give them a memory they're going to remember forever? Yeah. Like, we can go on a 2 or 3 day trip for that. Yep. And like, let's make the memories. So we're really trying to shift. I'm trying to shift more towards that. Not get our kids anything, but like spend a tremendous amount less than maybe what my parents even spent on us. I mean, I remember waking up and my parents didn't have that much money. Yeah. I mean, they were okay. They were kind of just median income, weren't rich, weren't poor, but like I remember waking up and having like 40 presents to open, and it's just like, like I remember like a year ago, Tatum got tired of opening gifts, or like 2 years ago. And he's like 3. He don't even know what he's opening. He's just like, he opens one gift he likes. He wants to play with it. It's like, cool. Let's get him 1 or 2 gifts he likes. He doesn't have an expectation. Right. So the smart thing is like, don't create an expectation your kid's getting 25 gifts and have to work backwards. Like, let's get him like 2 things. You know what I'm saying? Well, then if he gets 3, he's like, 3 gifts, Like,
well, and I love that perspective
let's start
too,
small,
because then it's just like, as you grow up, having that, having that perspective of like, well, I remember opening up this many. And then it's just like, by the 17th present, you're opening up like socks and like shampoo and conditioner. Just like,
I got a strategy. I got a strategy.
Okay.
Have 3 kids that are born on the same day.
All right.
We're going to do on July 13th. We're going to do? We're going to take a family trip. That's what we're going to do. We're going to take a family trip. What's your birthday gift? All 3 of them mugs getting a family trip.
There you go. I mean, listen, like you are an anomaly. I cannot believe that you have 3 boys, all literally born. If you just now tuning in,
I feel
PK
bad
has
for
3
their
boys
wives
on the same day.
one day. When they get married one day, it's like every birthday, every year, it's like, hey, it's a family thing. Like, you know what I mean?
Gotta
like,
go.
Babe, I want to take you this. Sorry, I got 2 brothers. I got to share it with, like it's just
we're going on family
the
trip?
way it is. Yep.
Dang, that's smart. Well, I want to kind of like pivot a little bit and talk more about kind of like Thanksgiving in area. I feel like that's when everybody gets together at the dinner table. Everybody's at one house. Yes. And that kind of like drama, there's always something that arises, some sort of family fight. I don't know if it's just my house, but there's always that one thing. But really kind of having your faith and your spirituality kind of like play a role in communicating and not dishonoring your family at those meals, or when conflict arises at these family gatherings or on holiday time. What are some ways that you can help effectively communicate without kind of jeopardizing who you are? Is there a way?
I think it's fun to stir up family drama. Personally, I don't. I'm just playing. I choose not to. Yeah. But there's nothing like sitting around the table and be like, yo, who'd you vote for? You know what I'm saying? Like, just to make everybody mad. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, let's talk about this. For me, and this is just where I sit, like, man, in my role, again, it's unique, but I do think it plays a factor in for everybody. For me, I have to just be really careful, right? Just from where I'm at and the seat I'm in, because I really want to be someone and a church that is for everyone. Yeah. That isn't based upon how you vote, how much money you have, even specific views about things that are non-essential. Mm-hmm. And that's what I would say. Like, I think having some of those conversations around the table, they're fine. Yeah. I think it can get really ugly when you have groups of people get together that don't know how to have those healthy conversations. So what I would tell you is err on the side of caution because of having things that you know are going to be divisive, because you might win that argument, but you're probably going to lose the relationship.
Yeah.
And for me, it's like, why are we here? To spend time as a family. Okay, let's not allow an opinion about Trump or Biden or whoever is going to run for election, whatever, take away from the one or couple times a year we actually get together.
Right.
So you can have your opinion. It's just like, what's the purpose of the conversation? Get more creative and think about what you may want to talk about. Play a game. Do something fun. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, why sit around and talk about things that are divisive? And part of it is just because some people just like to have their opinion aired and they like to start drama. And there's that. So like for me, what I would say is like, if that's happening, find a way to like love people where they are, but also not participate in gossip and just shut it down. Hey y'all, let's change the topic. We don't need to talk about this, you know? And like, sometimes it just takes you being a peacemaker. And to go biblical with it, Jesus calls us to be peacemakers, not peacekeepers.
Yeah.
And so part of it is like, I don't think on the reverse side is like, you just sit back and allow toxicity to take over the conversation. I think as a believer, you go, whoa, wait a second. We're not going to allow this to divide. This is ridiculous. I know this is important, but it's not essential. Like, y'all talk about this somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, let's spend the time together and enjoy our time together, and talk about things that are meaningful, or talk about family, or talk about experiences, or talk about small stuff. Talk about sports. Talk about whatever it is.
Yeah.
But allow the drama to just be for fun, and don't let it ruin the night.
I think a key thing that you just said was the word gossip, because I feel like gossip is always such a key player in the conversations that do turn into something bigger.
Yep.
So shutting it down at the beginning and just being like, let's just not today.
Yeah.
I think that's such
Sometimes
a good
you have
piece
to
of
make it
advice.
awkward.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just do. Like, so for instance, like one of the things that comes up in mine is like, all of our families aren't believer. Well, I'm a pastor. So like religion will be one of those things. Like, religion, politics, all that stuff is like, that comes up. And so what do you think about blank? What do you think about so-and-so's church?
Yeah.
Did you hear about blank? And it's like, hey, yo, listen, I'm not here to talk about church. I talk about church all the time.
Yeah.
I'm on a podcast talking about church.
Right.
I preach on Sundays talking about church.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm not about to get in and gossip about another church. I don't know what that man carries. I don't know what she carries. I don't know what they're going through. Neither do you. You have no idea what it's like to lead at that capacity in that church. I'm not about to get into gossip. I'm not to get in my opinion with that. Let's move on.
Yeah.
And like, it gets awkward because I'll shut it down quick. And I'm like, and the other reason is like, yo, if you'll talk about them, you'll talk about me. So it's like, I'm not about to participate in that because I just permissioned you to then gossip about me as well. So I think part of it is just learning how to honorably shutting some of those conversations down and finding a way to maximize the time that you have with your family. I just think that's key. And so I'm not saying, don't for fun debate or whatever, share memes, all that. But like, that's what I would say. Don't cause the drama at Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah.
Yo, send a meme afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's your application. Yeah, like have a family meme account that is meant for fun and like small jabs, you know.
We have that family group chat. I think there's like 18 of us in it.
It's cool. I make fun of everybody on that thing. You know what I'm saying? Like if you looked at the memes I send, let's talk politics. I send funny memes on Trump. I did. And funny memes on Biden. By looking at my memes, you probably wouldn't know which side I fall on. You know why I'm sending them? Because they're freaking funny. Yeah, and it's like at the end of the day, that's all I'm doing. And if you get super offended, it's like, yo, chill out.
Just relax.
Okay, like it's a joke. But it's when you got like the angry person that just sits there and watches Fox News all day.
Yeah.
Or watches CNN all day. It's like, oh, let's debate. It's like, no, get a life. Like, please, don't have it on.
Just allow some joy in your life.
That's
okay?
right.
That's it. Just allow the joy to seep in during the holidays.
Yeah, exactly. Pimp joy. You know what I mean? Shout out Bobby
joy.
Bones.
Yeah, shout out to Bobby Bones. Let's go.
Shout out.
To Amy. That was for her mom. That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, let's pivot just a little bit because family drama, I feel like, can go two ways. It can be kind of how we've been talking about, or it can go towards maybe like a mourning sense of family drama where maybe it's more mentally taxing than, a fight. It's actually not having a family member there or missing someone.
Great pivot.
When you go there, or if there's somebody listening that is maybe dreading the holidays this year because of that sort of family drama that might be stirring, what are some ways that they can help prioritize self-care in a good way to kind of maybe prepare themselves for the holidays.
Yeah, I think that's the challenging thing about holidays outside of what we've been talking about,
Yeah.
right? Is like who's not around the table.
Yeah.
You know, that I'm used to having around the table. Because it almost feels like a lot of times here, at least in my experience, the first person that ends up not being around the table seemed to be the one that held it all together.
Yeah.
It was grandma. It was grandpa. It was that crazy aunt. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like it was like they were the glue. And that's always a challenge. I mean, that's huge. I mean, I remember after my grandmother passed, like things just kind of they changed a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like especially on my stepdad's side, like she was the one that made sure everybody got together and she was there, right? And now it's like people really kind of don't, and it's sad. Like it sucks. But I mean, honestly, the challenge is now is like I don't even know if I'd be able to get there anyway.
Right.
But like it seems like that's the challenge. So I mean, I think when it comes to holidays and people that are no longer there, I think one of the best ways you can honor them is by still showing up. And I think the temptation is to isolate because you're hurting and you're in pain. I would also say like you don't have to fake it till you make it. And that's the biggest temptation, right? Like when you're hurting and you got to be around a group of people, it's like you either choose to not go at all or you fake it till you make it, right? Because you don't want to be Debbie Downer. But I think there's a real vulnerable place, and I think there's been some really powerful moments that have happened in our family, but even in, and I think I know in other people's families too, where people just, it's okay to not be okay. And that's not just a cliche. It's not just a saying we have at church. I want that to be true for people's family.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not saying you come in all the time and air out all your laundry. And honestly, sometimes that's not the people you need to be sharing all that with anyway. But I do think you come in and if it's like, hey, y'all, I'm just going to be honest with you. It's a little hard not having so-and-so here. I don't know how y'all feel about it. It's not hard. So then my next thing would be like, but if they were here, what would they want us to be doing right now? They'd be wanting us to enjoy it. They'd be like, so like maybe there's some things that were staples in the family, some traditions you had that you can carry on that brings the positive light to it as much as you can. But man, if you're like struggling, like I think one of the best things you can do is like, hey, I love that I'm here. I'm gonna be honest. I almost didn't come because it just feels different. And so like, hey, I don't want to forget about them. I also don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but like, I don't want to just like pull the party down. And I don't want to get into all of it, but like, I'm having a hard time this year. You know, like, could you just be praying for me? Because I was really close with blank, and this has kind of been hard on me. And letting your family in, because a lot of times, man, families, that's probably, for me, you would think it would be the safest place to be vulnerable. But oftentimes, it's not the safest place because it's actually where the pain first started.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, it's the pain that you have with them. So now it's like this other complexity to it. And so sometimes I think by being vulnerable, real healing can actually take place in your family. And so I would just encourage, man, don't isolate. Don't just not go. And I think, again, have boundaries with it. You know what I mean? Again, in light of the other values, your own family. Like, you can't allow all of that to drive either. Right? But I do think that some of that's important.
Yeah, I think allowing the joy to still be there around those times where, maybe you see yourself laughing at the table with grandma or something like that. I think it's important to not only acknowledge it, but those conversations when you're still mourning someone, I feel like whenever you start to tell the stories and you start to remember the good moments, that's when real healing does take place too. So like you said, don't bury it down. Don't fake it till you make it. Really just allow that joy to still continue around the holiday time, because I mean, it is the time to be thankful and have gratitude. And yes, they're not here, but hopefully, they're with Jesus. So they're happy right now also. So, it's, I think it's so important that, like you said, you don't have to be fake about it.
And humor has a way of helping heal.
Oh yeah.
I think too. So I think remembering those good moments and like telling stories of those funny moments is important. Yeah. Because it does just bring, like, laughter is good for the soul, and I think having some fun with each other and telling some embarrassing stories of those funny moments are just like, they're crucial in even helping you heal. And I think just being around other people that also have experienced something, like, in a weird way, there is like this like bonding thing that happens. It's like we've all kind of been through this together. We've all dealt with it differently. We're all dealing with it differently. Some are closer than others, but that's something you have in common that you can kind of come around. Yeah. And so I would say leverage it. Don't allow it to just like take over and cause you to completely back away.
Well, and I was just thinking too about maybe people who don't have family around, who might be living in a city, they can't afford to travel to go visit family. I feel like if you're listening and you are able to have people at your house, or you're, able to see family and things like that, and you see somebody who might not, we're not meant to do holidays specifically. I mean, life in general, but holidays specifically, I feel like doing them alone is one of the most isolating things. This time of year is, mental health.
You know what I'm about to tell people to do, right?
Yes.
Can I just go ahead and say you got to get in a small group. That's why you need a church. I'm serious. Like, that's family. I know literally so many people and couples in our church that moved from out of town that do not have family near, that their family can't get to them, they can't get to their family, and they gather every year with their small group, with their friends. And I would just encourage you, like, if you are missing out on the benefit and the healthiness of a church that doesn't just gather on Sunday, it's why you need a community. And like, it's scary. It's like difficult. You're going to probably not get along with everybody there. Well, you don't get along with most of your real family anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, there's always going to be somebody in your small group or a group of friends that's kind of like, they kind of get on my nerves. I deal with them. So like, you still got people. And I would just say, like, man, that's where I think those things are important. And that goes down to value again.
Well, and this is to piggyback off of kind of the small group talk, because I feel like there's a lot of people who are like, oh, I tried that. Sometimes you got to go through 6 or 7 small groups to find your people. Okay. So try it again.
Yeah, you should try it again. Listen, you find one. Look, if you find the perfect small group, please don't join it. Because you will screw it up. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't perfect. There ain't nobody weird in a small group. You're the weird one in the small group. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, that's life. But that's honestly what makes it beautiful, is like, you really don't want everybody that just loves everything you love.
No.
You need some like diversity. You need some differencing in opinion. It's what helps you become a better person and a better leader and a different thinker and like
a better listener.
You need all of that. Like, that's what helps all of us, right? Is that we're all unique. We all have different opinions on it. It's just learning, how do I honor people? Just because I disagree with you doesn't mean I get to dishonor you. So honor has nothing to do with you. Honor has to do with me. Not, are you honorable? Am I an honorable person? Like, whether I agree with you or not, that still doesn't give me the right to not honor you. So I will honor you anyway. So I would just, as we close, that's what I would tell people. Like, listen, whether you think they're honoring or not, be honorable. Like, you go, I'm going to choose honor, and I'm going to express honor, and I'm going to show gratitude, and I'm going to love them, and I'm going to be kind to them. I'm going to be gracious with my words. I'm going to have a good attitude. You can do those things. You can't control how they act.
It's like you were listening to the question in my mind that I was going to close with. I was going to ask you for an encouraging message for those getting ready for the holidays, but I mean, you hit that. But
that's it. Be honorable.
Just love on people, y'all. That's it.